Well, hello, Canadian Campaholic here, showing you a very, very sad sight. It's December 1st. We've got a little bit of snow on the ground. It's -9 Celsius today, which is about 15 Fahrenheit. And as you can see, our camper is no longer parked on the laneway. It's on the lawn so that we can access the garage. The camping trip that we had planned for this weekend, we canceled it. North of here, there's been a heck of a lot of snow, very windy, and temperatures during the day have not been going above freezing. So we decided that since we don't have a 4x4 tow vehicle anymore, and because this rig is not really geared for constant sub-zero, that we just wouldn't bother. My family, even in the winter, likes to use the onboard plumbing, which, you know, the plumbing inside the camper is fine because it obviously would be heated, but those holding tanks, there's a high risk that they would potentially freeze. One could argue that, you know, why wouldn't you just use the bathroom facilities provided at the provincial park? That's true. You know, they've got a heated bathroom facility, but when you've got 4 kids, 2 of which are really little, it's not super convenient to be getting all your stuff on every time the little kids want to go to the bathroom. I've heard of some folks putting a little bit of RV antifreeze into the holding tanks. I think there's less of a risk of the holding tanks freezing solid and more of a risk of the gate valves freezing. You wouldn't want to pull up to the dump station when you're leaving and try to pull those valves and having them being stuck. So, but yeah, all things considered, we just decided it just wasn't worth it. You know, they were calling for several inches of snow, fairly high winds, and it just, I don't know, just seemed too risky. So I'm out here today. I've already disconnected the battery. I've got it on a smart charger in the shop. I'm going to take the propane tank off here soon, or that might have to wait. Imagine that strap and everything's pretty frozen. I'm going to go in the camper too because I've got a lot of toilet chemicals and soaps and other things that are liquid, which will freeze in there and possibly burst. So we've had a very, very mild fall and winter. Temperatures way above seasonal, so this sudden cold snap and snow was very unexpected. Let's head in the shop. I'm going to show you something else I'm going to put in the camper. I've talked about this on the channel before, but some folks might not have seen my channel before, so let's go inside and talk about something a little different. Yeah, so those of you that are new to the channel, the reason I parked the camper on the grass out there is because our shop is heated. It has its own furnace, and I like to keep our vehicle in here in the winter months. This vehicle is getting a little older. It's a 2018, and it tends to run a little rough in the cold and have some rough starts in the cold, so keeping it in here is nice. Plus, when we turn it on to go out for a drive, it heats up nice and quickly, keeps everybody toasty. So that's why we parked the trailer there. What I'm going to do, though, is I am going to set up some damp rid or damp check. This is a product that is a crystal that absorbs moisture in the air and keeps the inside of the camper dry. Now, of course, right now with it being sub-zero, the air is incredibly dry, so there won't be a lot of condensation. But if you have sudden temperature swings, which is common where we are, then you want to use this stuff. Now, these containers have been sitting here since the spring, so they got a lot of liquid in them. The crystals have just completely turned to liquid. You can safely dump this stuff down your toilet. Just make sure you wash your hands after you handle it. So I'm going to dump these down the toilet and then refill them here and get them all set up to go in the camper. So these particular containers are for a product called Damp Check. But there's another equivalent product that you can get called Damp Rid. It's both about the same kind of an idea. I bought these containers and it came with the powder in it. And then once I had used them up over the course of the winter, I just keep buying these bags and topping it up. So basically, this moisture absorber, I can never remember the proper word. I'll put it across the bottom of the screen and probably never say it right. This will draw moisture out of the air. Now, our camper is a 22-foot travel trailer. 2 of these containers like this is more than enough to keep it dry. We've never had issues with mold and mildew inside the camper. If you've got a large trailer or a large fifth wheel, then you might want more than just 2. You know, if you've got a fifth wheel, you might want a couple up in the master bedroom area, and then maybe a couple more in the main compartment or the main area of the camper. If you have a tent trailer, these are also invaluable because, as you know, moisture is a big issue with tent trailers and pop-up campers with the canvas. Don't buy the ones at the dollar store. I hear a lot of people in the camping forums and see a lot of people going on about those little small ones you can get at Dollarama and Dollar Tree. They're just not powerful enough, folks, and they don't have enough of the moisture absorber in them. This is like your dollar store moisture absorber, but on steroids. I'm not sponsored by these people. I just use their products. If you look down in there, that's pretty deep. That's at least 2 or 3 inches of depth of this material that you're putting in there. And a lot of those dollar store ones only really come with like 1/2 inch to 1 inch of material, and they just don't work as effectively. I have been using these in campers for over a decade, and like I said, I've never had mold, I've never had mildew, never had musty smells. It's great stuff. So I don't have a helper today, so I'm going to put the camera down and then fill these up. All right, so that's not quite full to the top, so I'll probably need to buy a little more soon and top it up. What's interesting is that the damp rid containers said that it was poisonous, had a poison symbol on it, but when you look at the damp rid, which is what I'm using, there are no hazard symbols. I mean, obviously it's an irritant, may irritate your eyes, keep out of reach of children, but my advice is still wash your hands. Damp rid is septic safe, and I'm pretty sure damp check is as well, but make sure you do check the details on the product. But for a lot of these, when you get the buildup of the liquid, you can just dump that down the toilet and flush it away. But yeah, so you put that on there like that, then you take these little grids that go on the top, just kind of help to minimize any spills or anything getting into it. Like I said, you want a container or a bucket like this to keep them in so that if they get tipped over by accident in the winter, you don't get spills. That one doesn't want to snap on quite right. Yeah, you should have the product almost right up to those little grids. And that's it. Yeah, that will keep your camper nice and dry. So I'm going to wash my hands. We'll head out to the camper and just check things inside there. All right, inside the camper now. Place the moisture absorber on the ground there. That way, if it does get knocked over, it's less of a distance. I wouldn't want it on the counter, have it get knocked over and go flying everywhere. What I'm going to do now, though, is just run through the camper and anything that is a liquid, like bug spray, soaps, shampoos, and the like, toilet chemicals. I'm going to box all those up and get those in the shop. Don't really like leaving liquids of any kind in the camper. We're not going to get into mouse stuff in this video. I have another video on the channel that talks about trying to keep mice out of your camper. One of the things I love about a travel trailer, though, is that you can go inside of it in the winter. And I really recommend that even if you store your camper, you should be going and checking on it every few weeks, if at all possible. One of the things I hated about the tent trailer or the pop-up camper was that you shut it all down for the winter and then it was just a mystery. You just hope to God that all of your work and preparations did the trick. A lot of these soft furnishing items, a lot of these sheets and things we'll take out of here and wash, but the mattresses and the bedding we actually leave in the trailer now. When we lived in the city and we had the storage facility, I used to drag all of this stuff out of here, all the cushions, all of the stuff, but that's up to you. Some will do it because they're worried about mice coming in, shredding it, or it getting moldy or whatever. But we've lived at this property for 3 years now. This is our 4th winter, I think, we're going into. And never had an issue with the soft furnishings getting damaged. I mean, in a tent trailer, absolutely. But in a travel trailer like ours where I can go in it whenever I want, not really a big deal. So, well, folks, that'll about do it for this video. But before we wrap up, I have a little piece of news. For those of you that follow the channel, you know that we have a favorite campsite at Pinery Provincial Park. It occurred to me as I was putting stuff away, it's December 1st. There's a 5-month booking window at Ontario Provincial Parks, which means your arrival date now can be May 1st. And that's when Dunes Area 1 reopens at Pinery, our favorite site. And I thought, oh no, I should have got up at 7 a.m. this morning. It's when the booking window starts to try and get my favorite site. And I am thrilled to report that I just jumped on the website. Not only was our favorite campsite available, but I booked it for 4 nights, which is so exciting. I can't wait to tell the kids. We typically camp 3 nights, partly to save expense, partly because I don't want the kids missing a lot of school. We have to board the dog and all the rest of it. And the holding tanks on our camper, I always worry that 3 nights seems to be our limit, and I don't want to have to tow the camper to the dump station mid-trip. But you know what? I think if we maybe use the bathroom facilities a little more on that trip and try to be cautious with the amount of gray and black water that we're creating, I think we can make it work. I am so thrilled. We may start camping in April, weather depending, but if not, we know we've got our favorite campsite for May, and that is fantastic. So I'll probably check in with you folks closer to Christmas, which is not too far away now because it's December 1st. It's crazy to think about that. But other than that, no, there won't be an awful lot of other stuff on the channel, to be honest with you, unless I come across, maintenance things I've got to work on the camper. But that'll be it. The trailer will just be kept here, and I'll just, monitor it and look after it, and that'll be it for the channel until we get into spring. So anyway, we'll check in with you closer to Christmas. Hope you're all having a great fall/winter. Hope my American friends had a great Thanksgiving. And anyway, I'm rambling now, so we're gonna stop. I'll talk to you later.